What is up guys, welcome back to another GeekaWhat video, and today it appears that Cooler Master have fixed the H500P again. What's this stripped back, more affordable, high airflow case really like? Let's dive in and take a look. This case builds onto Cooler Master's H series lineup with the signature two 200mm fans up front. These help to push a shed load of air through your system to give you some really nice air and water cooling performance. Now, to address the airflow issues that people had about the not so high airflow oriented H500P, this by default comes with a mesh panel at the front for really minimal air resistance, though Cooler Master do include a flat acrylic version if that's more your style, if you're more bothered about aesthetics as opposed to how actually cool your system can be. Now, as to be expected, the two fans included are only the standard analog RGB derivatives, not the addressable versions seen on their new H500M, and an RGB controller is included. It's definitely basic, but does the job nicely, and also allows you to wire up to the reset switch to repurpose the reset switch on the front panel as an additional RGB control button. Personally, I think this is a weird and daft decision. A dedicated RGB control on the front would have been a much better solution. Cooler Master also include a 3-way RGB splitter, which allows you to use the singular controller with one port left over. The use of a standard 4-pin RGB header is appreciated and means you can plug up to compatible Asus or Async or MSI Mystic Lite motherboards, for example. The I/O on this case continues its really nice industrial design aesthetic with two USB 2 ports, two USB 3 ports, HD audio, so headphone and microphone jacks, as well as a reset and power button in Cooler Master's new signature style. It has everything I think you could possibly need, and USB-C is of course reserved for Cooler Master's higher end, more expensive chassis. On the radiator and fan front, it's pretty impressive as you would come to expect, with room for two 200mm fans up front, those units of course included, and a 360mm radiator here too. At the top you get support for up to a 240mm radiator with room for 120, 140 or a 280mm fan. At the rear you also get support for a 120mm radiator, and a 120mm non-RGB fan comes nicely included, so really quite nice all around. The top also features a magnetic dust filter, which is my personal favourite style that peels off easily for efficient and effective cleaning. Nice job on this one, Cooler Master. Whilst this case definitely wouldn't be my first choice for a custom water cooling rig, there's definitely ample room in here to do so. An all-in-one unit should not be shied away from. A 360mm in the front and a 240 on top for your CPU and GPU will work absolutely no problem, which is great to see. The final feature of notability on the outside of this case is the tempered glass side panel, and it does two things really well. First and foremost, the tint isn't too strong. As you can see here, you can see into the system with fairly limited RGB illumination, no problem. The second good thing it does is actually a black frame around the edge. Whilst this is actually still the glass, it allows you to easily carry and maneuver this without getting too many fingerprints all over it and helping you to keep it nice and clean. Cooler Master also include a cleaning cloth in the box, which is a really nice touch. The glass side panel also features captive screws at the top, and whilst these sadly aren't thumb screws, they look nice and you aren't going to lose them, which is a really welcome addition in my opinion. Moving to the inside of the case, it's a really impressive affair. With support for ITX, MATX and full-size ATX motherboards, it's got all the three main bases covered, alongside support for two 3.5-inch drives and up to four 2.5-inch SSDs depending on the number of hard drives you install. You also get a power supply shield, which whilst isn't the most premium thing I've ever seen, does its job and does it really well. You also get support for up to graphics cards of 410mm in length. I've got a Zotac 1080 Ti Amp Extreme in here with loads of room left to spare, as well as Cooler Master's signature cable cover that we've been seeing on their higher end chassis. Finally, on the cable management front, it's really pleasing to see plenty of cable tie loops as well as 30mm of clearance behind that rear panel for you to stuff your cables away and forget they existed. Unfortunately, the rear side panel doesn't feature captive thumb screws, though this isn't too much of a complaint for me on a case at this price point. If I had to moan about one thing on the interior of this case, it would be the tease of a vertical GPU mount. With just one vertical PCIe mount, I'm not really sure what this is for, as two would be needed for standard graphics card installations. Whilst it isn't going to be the best option in terms of airflow to have a vertical GPU mount, and this case is for the more budget-oriented consumer, it would have been a killer feature to have on this chassis and wouldn't really have made the chassis any bigger either. At least if you give people the option of a horizontal or vertical mounting system, people can't complain, and it would have just topped this case off really quite nicely. In summary though, I really do like this case. I like the magnetic dust filter up top. I like the easy durable carrying handle too. I like the high airflow, I like the design. I also like the fact you get such a conclusive feature set at only around $100 on the price tag, but I'll put links for up-to-date pricing for different regions and retailers for this chassis in the description below. I also like Cooler Master's resilience in terms of carrying on with this case lineup and improving it, responding to demands and the feedback that customers have put forward. I've been really impressed by this chassis, and it seems Cooler Master's perseverance has paid off. There's definitely a few little quirks, such as the tease of a vertical GPU mount and the supposed reset button repurposing for that RGB controller we talked about earlier. But all in all, Cooler Master seem to have done it again. They've made a really solid case at a fantastic price point. Like seriously, for the price, this thing is just pretty incredible. If you enjoyed today's video though, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe, hit me up on the social channels below, and if you'd like to see me do a build in this case, let me know the price point in the comment section down below. As always though, we'll see you in the next GeekaWhat video.